Hey guys, welcome back. I know I've been gone for a while, but simply because I've been in school and I don't necessarily have time to make videos all the time, but I figured now would be a good time because I was cleaning my scooter, taking it apart, whatever, messing around with it, so I figured it'd be a good time to make a video. Today's video is going to be how to put together a scooter and dial it. Some of you may be here for just the dialed video, and some of you may be here for how to put it together because you don't necessarily know how. I will build it, and as I go through, I'll tell you the parts to make sure it's dialed, what will most likely be the case if it's undialed. But yeah, so the tools can vary. I have just a couple Allen wrenches, a screwdriver for the forks. You know, you could use this. You could use this for the brake. It just all depends on what your scooter is and what parts consist, you know, in the scooter, because brake bolts are different size, everything. So I've got all my parts laid out here. I've got my wheels, my forks, my headset, my clamp, my deck. And the only thing that this video is not going to be showing you is how to put grips on, because there's probably tons of videos on that. And where is it? Oh yeah, how to put bearings in and install grip tape. All three of those things you'll have to find another video because I've already done that. So, alright, so you got your deck. Most decks come with the brake pre-installed and comes with an axle with the spacers. If you do not have these, either find a replacement or buy new ones. If they snapped, I don't know, I guess you're SOL, whatever. But we're going to do the front, so that way it has weight up here. I'm going to set this down, because what you want to do first, you want to take your fork. My bearing is stuck to the race, so that's why it's already on here. It won't be on quite yet. Have your fork here. If you're wondering, these are Tilt Legacy forks. My favorite forks, absolutely love them. And you're going to take your wheel. I have two used wheels, and I'm going to check to see which is more used, because you want the more used one on the front, which I think is this one. So we'll be putting this one on the front. Simply slide it in and get your axle, which I have a bolt and nut. Slide it through. Sometimes it won't be that easy, but just simply screw it on, which this is where the screwdriver comes in place. Simply going to take your 6, put it in the axle, tighten it down finger. Oh, I guess I didn't need a screwdriver. Okay, so simply tighten it down. There you go, you got your wheel on. This is where a part of your scooter will possibly be undialed. Make sure your front wheel is all the way tight. If it is all the way tight but still wiggles or rattles, you need new bearings. Simple as that. You need new bearings. Your bearings may be like shaking. Yeah, there you go, fork is on. Make sure you have your HIC or your SCS, and I'm going to be using SCS on this, but HIC is basically an SCS. There's really no difference, just besides the clamp. I'm going to take my deck. You're going to want to put your bearing in the bottom, because sometimes it'll be hard with, I know with AOS's, sometimes you have to hit it in and stuff, but I have a flavor and it works perfectly fine. You're just simply going to take your fork and slide it in. It's perfectly like that. I'm going to take your bearing with the curved side pointed down, and your race. I don't know if it's a crown race or a fork race. I don't know which one. So it sits in there like that. You can see, just pops in there. Take your top cap. Yes, this is a tilt. Slide it on like that. So it's sitting there nice and flush. If it is rubbing, you'll probably need to find a 2mm spacer, like a really thin spacer, slide it on there and then slide the top cap on, or you're just going to have to run without a top cap. In my case, I'm going to need a spacer. I'm just going to slide that on top. Now, when you get your SCS, this build will be for SCS. I probably should have said that in the beginning, but I'll put it in the title or in the description. But yeah, so you get your SCS, make sure all the what the hell? Bolts are loosened. They don't have to be like completely out, but yeah, loosened. And just slide it on. If your SCS does not slide on, what you want to do is you want to loosen all the bolts to where they do come out. And you're going to want to take this one and re-thread it in through the back, which will be the opposite way. You're going to want to take a quarter, put the quarter in there, and then tighten it down, and it'll spread the SCS open, so it'll be like this, and it'll spread it open. You can slide it on, make sure it's tight, make sure it's where you want it, and then take it out. Don't take it out because then it'll get stuck. But yeah, so have it on here. Simple as that. Legacy forks have a bolt like this. Most forks just have a single like bolt like this, but it's longer. It's a single bolt and a washer, but in my case it has this, so I'm going to drop that in there. It does take a second for me to actually get in the groove because these forks are dumb sometimes. These forks only like one Allen that I have. They don't like both of them. This is the Allen. I put wax on it just so I can mark it. Give it a second, it'll start threading. Still not threaded. Kind of want to help it out. You'll get it eventually. Oh, there it goes. Alright, so you're going to want to tighten it down to where it's easy, and then it stops. You don't want to tighten it anymore. Maybe just a little bit. Okay, so at this point, you see your fork spin freely. Not what you want. I mean, unless you like your forks that loose, but that's where the undialedness will come in. So basically, you're going to want to straighten your SCS out, which in my case looks pretty straight. You're going to want to tighten it down. I grab the SCS because if you're to use the forks, the SCS will turn, like so. You can turn it back, turn it. Stupid SCS. It's basically trial and error. So you'll get in the groove. Protos and regular tilts are kind of nice to work with. The tilt arcs are pretty stupid when it comes to working with them. Alright, so as you see here, you want it to spin about 90 degrees. That's how tight you want your headsets, to spin about 90 degrees. If they're spinning more than that, then you might need to just tighten it down a little bit. But yeah, if they're spinning about 90 degrees, it'll be dialed when you put the bars on. There you go. The front end is done and the front end is dialed. Front wheel's tight and the compression's tight. HIC, just basically you put the shim over, tighten it down to the bolt, and you're done. Once again, you want it to spin about 90 degrees. This may spin a little more because it's a tilt headset. It's a good headset, but yeah. Moving to the back, before you put the wheel on, if you have a new brake, you're going to want to put it on. I took mine off because I just cleaned my grip tape. You're simply going to want to take your 3mm Allen and you're going to want to tighten it down. Now, brake bolts are stupid and they are mostly known to strip. What I've noticed is that if you have the Allen like this and you tighten it down like this to the point it stops, they never strip. If you have it bent down like this and you're tightening it like this, that's when they strip. So if you take your Allen and just simply put it up, just tighten it down to where they stop like this. Don't over tighten it. Perfect. Of course, you want to make sure your brake is Jesus, I cannot speak. It's late at night. Your brake is straight. You want to, if it's crooked, you want to loosen it. Just simply tighten it back down. Loosen it, move it, and tighten it back down. My brake likes to move when I tighten it down, though, so it's pretty stupid. So once again, don't bend your Allen. So there you go, like that. Nice and tight. So now, we are going to put the back wheel on. Alright, put it right here so it doesn't scratch my desk. So, the axle, the deck that you get My bad. Sorry, my sister has her friend over, so they're kind of crazy. But the deck that you get will come with 2 wheel spacers and an axle. Flavors have really high quality axles. I don't know about like Lucky's or something, but definitely want to use the recommended axle. If you do not have an axle and you have like an axle like this, slide it through, that works, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Simply going to want to do this. On flavor that I've noticed, on the flavor that I have, there's a certain side that the axle will slide through, and a certain side that it won't. So here's the side you're going to want to put the spacer on, like stick the axle through just a little bit, put the spacer on, and tilt it sideways with the axle facing down, but you don't want it to slide out. Take your wheel and match them up. Take your wheel. I wish you could see this, but it's kind of hard. I have a little weird position. Put the wheel on, right on top of the spacer, like that. You can kind of see it in there, right on top of the spacer. Slide the axle through. It'll stick out on the top there, but you don't want that. You want it just to be flush with the wheel. The top of the wheel, you want to take your other spacer, slide it on top, and then slide it through. There you go. You have the spacer on both sides. Alright. You take your bolt. If you had a nut, you just screw it on. And I'm going to take my 2 5mm. Stupid dogs. They bark at everything. Take it down and just simply tighten it down. Once again, this is a part where the scooter will be undialed. You want to make sure your wheel is tightened all the way. And if it's tightened all the way but still wiggles, it is most likely your bearings. So yeah, there we go. Now your scooter should be dialed from this point on. Now, all that's left is the bars. I have metal bar ends, so you're going to want to make sure that your bar ends are tightened, which 4mm Allen, tight, and tight. Alright, so now my bars have like 1 degree of back sweep, so I can kind of tell. So, see how easily they went in there? Let me pull them up. So you just simply slide in. Once again, make sure your SCS is tight all the way. Ooh. Just slide in like that. If they don't slide in, take all your bolts out. And take this one out and re-thread it through the other side with the quarter again. Put it in here, tighten it down, and slide the bars on. Then you want to loosen it just a little bit to where they move like this, but not very much, where it's like, you know, a nice tightness. So basically, you're going to want to make sure that they're straight. So they're a little crooked, so I usually grab the SCS and move the bars, so that way if I like hit it against the curb, the SCS doesn't move. I can't see very well, it's not very much light. That looks about right. So now, if your bars are really loose, tighten it down to where they move just a little bit. If they're, in my case, where they, well, if they won't move if I do this, just pick up your scooter, simply take your 6mm, tighten it down evenly to where just finger tight to where they stop. Like that. And you want to start from the bottom. Just do like a quarter turn, maybe half a turn on each side. So there you go. So you got your bolts there. You just want to start at the bottom. Quarter turn. That's all you need. And you will feel as you move up, the bolts that you thought were tight last time around are going to be looser. That's because it's the SCS compressing down. You want to change it up. Go from bottom to top, top to bottom, bottom to top, top to bottom. You'll go through about 3 or 4 times. On the very last time, you just really want to crank them down. Make sure that they're tight all the way. If you have a good SCS, you shouldn't have to worry. The bolts could be like